Okay, call the EDA meeting to order. Yeah, approval of the agenda.
Approval of the agenda.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We have a motion to approve the January 27th, 2025 board minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Financial reports.
Nothing new to report with them.
Questions on anything? Okay. Old business, multi-family housing tax abatement program.
So for those of you who weren't here last month, I had presented to the board members who were here. I've had some developers ask about different housing incentive policies that we could do here, or tools that we got here for multi-family housing. That includes duplexes, triplexes. The first proposal I brought forward a policy for is a tax abatement program. I used some examples as a basis for what I was looking at, and then I have a draft policy after this. So what I'd be looking for from you guys is to review it, see if you're ready to approve it, if you need more time, any questions.
So just to clarify, tax abatement doesn't mean that they don't get paid, they just don't get paid by the developer, they get paid by they get dispersed across the whole city. Okay.
Did you check with like St. James and stuff like that, or don't they have anything like that?
St. James does not have one, the county does not have one.
Okay. Is there any other cities our size that would have anything? I guess is Springfield about our size?
I think Springfield was my one that was about our size. Blue Earth would probably be another one. Theirs was an interesting case where they did several cities within Faribault County, and the county policy matched the policy. So then they both abated taxes at the same time. So similar thing in Fairmont and Martin County, but their policies are written differently.
Should there be a limit in here as far as, right now it's just open-ended, should there be a limit of how many projects or dollar amounts or something along that line? Since it is being passed along or spread out over the rest of the taxpayers essentially, should there be a limit? I don't know.
Right now I've left it flexible, like you said. It says up to 100% of the increased property taxes. The reason I wrote it that way is it means all the taxes we would have collected on the property had they not developed, we're still collecting. Now they develop, there's an increase however much it is, and we can go up to 100%. The reason I didn't specify is you might have cases where it needs different numbers. You can specify that. You can shrink down the number of years. When you approve it, you can approve a dollar amount, so up to 3 years of tax abatement, or this dollar amount.
Could it be up to 100%? Is that, could it be?
Then it'd have to come to EDA all the time to get approval to how much they're going to get, and then you have to do that, you think? Or?
Well, we put in with, like, let's say it was a huge project, you might only want to do 50% of the increase.
Correct, yeah, and so that would be your guys' choice. This is up to 100%.
Oh, okay.
So it's case by case.
Yeah, of how much that is. It says, this policy says that we are willing to do up to 100% of the increase, not your entire.
So you're seeing like basically what I'm putting on paper, what you put on paper here is the smaller communities are going for the 5 years, the bigger ones like Fairmont and stuff like that went for the 10 years just to push it out further. Is that what you're seeing, or?
They went for 10 years. I would say most of them have done the 5 years. Yeah, 4 years in Lyon County.
And they just basically get taxed on it was just a plain amount, basically. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they could have had something else before it. Maybe they had a single family home and now they go up to a multi-family home. A lot of times in Martin County, Fairmont, they had they demoed a home and then they built a new one on the property. So maybe it was blighted, they had really low taxes they got at that point.
So 5 years does this go 5 years of completion of the project? I would assume it's longer than I asked, because it usually takes 2 years for taxes to catch up anyway, so.
Yeah, I would,
I mean, the 5-year.
I would assume it's 5 years from the receiving of the
Whatever it may be.
yeah, because of the fact that, I think that's one of the reasons these towns do this is in case there isn't necessarily, a full rental, and they can't fill in the first year or two until the word's out.
Yeah,
So would you say that 5 years would start on certificate of occupancy then?
Yeah, I would assume so, yeah. I mean, you can't really, you're not gonna even be able to assess it until you get that, to get the new tax level.
If you go to the second page, I've got in there, partially constructed housing may result in an abatement in the first abatement year that may be significantly less than the following years based on the taxable value. Basically, if they were in progress.
You'd wanna go from the,
We can change that. I pulled that.
yeah, I think it would make more sense if you're gonna do it, just to do it for, but the other thing is, depending on, I think there might be quite a few factors depending on, what the housing is, I guess. Like you said, what the project is. I don't know that necessarily like a live-in duplex, is that gonna count? So if the owner is living in one side and,
This one does allow it. It doesn't specify that it needs to be rentals. If you wanted it to be rentals, you would have to specify that.
because I mean, that could be a totally different situation than some actual developer coming in and building something for multiple families.
Repeat that again?
So this one does not specify that they have to be rentals. Yes. So
well, I don't think we want to specify rentals because it could be for business too, correct? Or is this just for housing?
This is
this
just,
is the housing. You already have a tax payment program.
Okay.
Commercial.
Well, this is for housing.
Oh, yeah, this is for
The one situation where
I get what you're saying.
where it would be super beneficial is, say, somebody that's looking to build, a duplex and live in one side of it, rent the other side out to pay the mortgage, then get the first 5 years abated in taxes, then they can sell it 5 years after
Yeah.
with no penalty.
I mean, you could bypass that from an individual too, they just put it in an LLC, rent it to themselves, and it would be the same thing.
Yeah.
There's another way to get around that.
Right.
Yeah, you'd be able to finagle around it anyway.
I guess that
And I'm not saying that that's the situation where we wouldn't want to do it, I'm just saying that that would definitely be a situation where the benefit for the particular developer would be much greater in that instance than another developer that's trying to rent them all or sell them or whatever. But I would be open to anything that gets housing built.
Not to go too far down a rabbit hole, but would this be classified the same as an assisted living? Multifamily, or is that completely separate?
multifamily residential. I'm not sure if that would fall under multifamily or if it would fall under commercial, because it's a business operating it.
Well,
But
so is an apartment.
are you talking about HUD?
Just asking.
We can specify that if that's something you guys want. I'm trying to think, a lot of the other situations I got running into that.
Okay.
You already have a tax payment policy for commercial, I think you could apply that in a situation like that. I think a multifamily, you could argue the same thing, they're providing housing to seniors, so,
Did Patrick take a look at this yet, or?
no, he is not. This was drafted very recently, so no,
Okay.
yes.
I'd say maybe table it until legal looks at it.
I'd say so.
Yeah, have Patrick take a look at it, see if there's anything that needs to be changed.
And he might even be able to answer those questions with looking at it, Cody, for you.
That was just a general question, I'm not worried about it.
So this would pertain to R2 and R3?
There is duplexes are allowed in R1.
Okay,
So duplexes
so
are one.
all zoning would be fine.
Nothing is currently zoned R3,
Oh,
I think, in the city, so, yeah.
Yeah. Weren't you just at the last meeting? Well, that was just planning commission.
I think-
That wasn't planning and zoning, right, Glenn?
I didn't get there super early, did that come up right away?
You can put an R3 in there just for giggles.
So, do we need a motion to table it?
No, you told me to
Okay.
table it, so.
Okay. Everybody's good with tabling it, tell Patrick what's that. Housing construction loan program.
So similar thing, at the last meeting, I brought forward a proposal. We've had some developers interested in building multifamily housing, and they've asked if there's a possibility to do a loan for construction. I've got a policy here. I wasn't able to find a lot of municipal programs like this. It allows funds to be used for permits, infrastructure improvements, materials, labor, trying to not be specific on that. Eligible properties are duplexes, triplexes, up. Loan amount shall not exceed more than 50% of total project costs. Interest range from 1% up to 1% below prime. Security best lien. Term up to 20 years. And then if property is sold, loan must be repaid in full.
what account would fund that?
So that would be Fund 46.
What's the current, status of that fund? You know?
269,000, something like that. That was the old down payment.
269, 891,
I did pretty good.
Others I wasn't looking at it.
You could always choose to fund it from other funds, maybe go after grants too, if this is a program you like.
And it's, what, did I read in there, it's only supposed to meet like 50% or
Yes.
something like that?
Yes.
Of the-
Yes, and so that's, like when we do a business loan, we don't specify that with our business loans. But we're public dollars, right? We're not trying to come in and give them a better interest rate than the bank is necessarily. We're not trying to replace the bank. And so I put in 50% as a good benchmark. If you want to adjust it, we can, either way. That would be my recommendation. Making sure they have skin in the game and the bank has skin in the game.
We only got,
Yeah, you probably actually want to keep it lower if we're never going to obtain first.
I was just gonna say, you might wanna, especially if we only have that much on hand.
Well, and if we're never going to be able to obtain first position anyway, we're always going to be a secondary. It probably makes sense to be
At a lower
sub 50 if ever.
And I'm guessing Patrick didn't look at this either.
We were missing on most of you guys the last time we presented, so. But nobody, and I think what you guys did was good, that you didn't make any any decisions until you guys were all sitting here, so.
I agree with Andy, I think we wanna be lesser than 50%. And
Is there a pretty good benchmark you want, like a third of it? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, it's, considering you're always going to be in second position, I guess I would, yeah, 33% is probably a decent benchmark. I don't know, I guess, in conversations we've had for previous business loans, I don't think we ever wanted to be more than, a 30 to a third partner. So.
I know we have given ones up to like 96% of the project.
I know that.
Okay. That's just where I'm coming from on that. Yeah. And like I said, I wasn't able to find other programs, so that's generally where I find my benchmark there, that I can understand. The one thing too is if you do limit this, you don't have the flexibility. So maybe you have a unique situation. Maybe you want to make sure you don't
you
go.
wanna put like the other thing up to 50%, just like up to 10 years or up to 100%, like that.
Yeah, so shall not exceed is what I have there, so it won't be more than 50%. But if you want to go down to a third, shall not exceed 33%, that's a good number as well.
Yeah, maybe one of those things to kind of talk to local banks about and see what our second position would actually look like. And 49% if it's gonna expose us in any way, I guess. The bigger thing is, like you said, we're not necessarily here looking to take the duties of a professional lending establishment away from them.
I mean, we do want to help other people, more than just a couple.
Well, and I think it's a similar case to what the, down payment assistance is depending on the qualifications, how they tailor each of those qualifications of the applicant, really. That's kind of what we do in the business on the side, but definitely want to get the money back out of the community if possible. We definitely need housing, so I don't want to make it too cumbersome, but I also don't want to leave us legally exposed either, so.
So it says under the housing payment, assistance, there's 8 outstanding loans.
Yes.
Do you know how much that is, or is that the 20?
That's the 23.
Okay.
And so they're all pretty minimal. I mean, the down payment assistance on it was like up to $9,000, so most of them are almost paid off. Most of them had really small ones in the first place. I think they're
That's only been one since 2019.
the largest balance I got is about $5,000.
I like that if we can get those questions answered.
Empowering Small Minnesota Communities application update.
So for those of you who weren't here in January, I applied in November for this program. It was for the Wauchula Park Riverfront redevelopment, looking at flood-resistant landscaping, erosion control, sustainable infrastructure for recreational amenities that can handle flooding. And then in January, we heard word that we were semifinalists. And within this month, I heard word that they found professors at the U of M who are interested in working with us. So I have a meeting on March 10th from 3 to 4 p.m. to go over the project. And I wanted to see if 1 to 2 of you would like to be a part of that call. I think at this point, I should not be the person deciding what this project looks like. And so I think Chris will be on there as well. But I want to know if he wants to be involved. It's about the next 9 months or so. We'll be working with the U of M.
I'd like to be involved if possible.
Anybody else?
I'm not going to be available on the 10th though.
I can. I don't know much about the whole scenario, but somebody can get you up to speed.
Yeah, it's easy to kill it.
Good on that one? Splash pad project, public comment and public workshop.
So yeah, public comment is now open for the splash pad project. We have our website up, the master park plan is where everybody can find the information. I have a screenshot on your agenda packet that shows kind of what that page looks like. We've had 2 comments already, both in favor of the project. One was asking a question that I'm blanking on now. The other one just was excited to see the project happen. So we'll also have a workshop on March 4th at 6 p.m. here. And then once the workshop is happened and public comment is closed, we'll review the comments and adjust it. I submitted the draft DNR grant application 5 minutes ago. So we're moving forward on that.
Okay, new business, Greater Minnesota Small City Housing Aid Grant Program.
So I talked to you guys about this a little bit in one of the previous EDA meetings. This program is open to our community to apply for housing funds. So I've had some conversations with different entities about what we could go forward with. I have 2 proposals here. I actually want to strike the second one. I've talked to developers about the grant funds, and due to the fact that prevailing wage would come into play, they're not interested in using the funds. And then another one, their timeline just doesn't line up with when these grant funds need to be used. So my proposal is to go after a grant to develop a revolving loan fund to support purchasing used manufactured homes. We have a lot of old homes, 25 of them are older than 1976. There's several abandoned homes at our mobile village. They are an affordable option when home prices are increasing, but you cannot, there's no loan products to buy those. A traditional lender does not offer those. There is a loan product coming out that offers 30-year mortgages for new manufactured homes, but not one for used. And so I've been talking with Mobile Village and then their nonprofit support technical assistance, North Country Foundation, and they recommended trying to develop a revolving loan program like this. So,
What's that used inventory look like out there? I mean, in talking with people.
I don't have that off the top of my mind, but yeah.
And then what are we going to be held with in manufactured homes from the building code aspect of things?
We'd be held to the manufactured home standards.
Right, but I mean, there's going to be a separate classification for those homes versus a standard house, because
Correct.
you do have this stuff.
Yep, there's a separate book just for manufactured homes.
So what would the program look like? You'd be looking at like down payment assistance type program again for purchasing new, or?
So my recommendation is to create a revolving loan program to purchase used manufactured homes. And it couldn't be down payment assistance because there's not a loan product in place for used in the first place, right? So they can't put it, they don't have that function. There's no down payment for another loan, because there's no loan to apply for.
Right.
We could also go forward with trying to turn this into a down payment assistance for the new homes, since there is a loan product coming into place for new manufactured homes. That'd be another option.
So we'd be looking at financing the full purchase of used though? Is that what we're
A
thinking?
portion of it, yeah.
Portion.
Yeah, like a traditional home loan.
And talking to the Mobile Village, did they say what the biggest problems they're seeing are as far as even the vacant lots? Is it the cost of moving homes in? Is it the interest in living there? Is it,
There's a lot of interest in living there. Like I said, there are 25 homes there already that are older than 1976.
right?
So like we have our county REAP program that's coming out that does help manufactured home as well as traditional homes. But we will not help homes, we are not legally allowed to help homes older than built before like July, something 1976, because those homes did not, they were not held to a building code standard. And so then in addition, there's several abandoned ones, but there are lots that are available, but they're not prepped. And so that's another concern. I don't know if we're allowed to use this program to prep the lots. But this would, a revolving loan fund was an option.
But we're trying to find ways to help them.
Is it
Best that we can.
fiscally feasible by the time you put all the infrastructure and things into place, buy a used mobile or a used unit, fix it to up to code standard and everything else? Is there enough there?
We're just trying to figure out a way to help them do something. I don't know if your rate of return on this investment is going to be, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be, kind of the interesting thing is that, and depending on what, most of those lots are set up for single wide,
They're too close together.
and they're set up for single wides, and you can still buy new single wides. You know, and they're probably between $75,000 and $95,000 for a single wide trailer.
If you're lucky.
I think you can still get them for that. The last couple times I've looked. But for instance, if you're gonna buy one, by the time you move it in, have the site prep, have the utilities hooked up, you're probably at that $110,000 to $115,000 benchmark. You have a new one, so you maybe get financing for the new one through, through this new bank loan program. But you have to weigh those pros and cons. Do you want to use stick-built, a existing stick-built house? Not that there's many on the market, but they're out there too. I don't know.
I would say there's more of those out there than single-wide used units would be pretty difficult to, they're gonna be in pretty rough shape.
Well, yeah, and it depends on, I don't think I would set up any program to move in, anything older than 2010, into that. So you're looking at newer units anyway, but if you're gonna be putting homes in there, I would start with new ones, I guess. And
You
just
said that the
see if the
program
market's
doesn't
there.
allow you to do new ones?
No, we could go after, creating our revolving loan program to support purchasing of new homes, new manufactured homes. That loan product is already being created by the North Country Cooperative Foundation. It's a 30-year mortgage. There's no traditional bank offers that, based on the cost of what they're.
And I don't know if the economic conditions or whatever have changed. I was doing some reading and some research when we first started talking about some of this, and there was a lot of mention about USDA-backed, Freddie Mac, those types of loans being applied to new, manufactured homes.
And I think.
And I don't know if that's changed or what, but, and it definitely could have. The thing is, that's probably still gonna be the easiest way to get 12 single-family residents put in to the community in the next 7 years. If there's a program and there's interest in it. But I think you'd almost have to start a pilot program, see if there's actually interest in people purchasing something for the price point that it ends up being. And, realistically, the best case scenario would be, yes, people are interested in taking out a wonderful loan to purchase a new manufactured home on that property. And at some point, hopefully the people that are living in homes that are maybe no longer the best, would see that program maybe makes sense and we could replace those too, but I just don't know what that would look like.
What's the definition they use for manufactured homes?
Anything that's not 2024, 2025,
Already been lived in?
anything that's been previously
So
done.
anything. So it's not limited to just the mobile village.
No,
No, they come from all over, could come from all over.
preferably they would,
Yeah.
just considering the state of a lot of them.
Well, what I mean is it's not just limited to single and double wide. It could be a home, a house that was manufactured somewhere else.
No, you gotta be careful on that.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Because a manufactured home is, it's a title, but then there's also the modular homes. A modular home that's actually created within, a building, and it comes in parts and they put it together, but that's considered a lot of times stick-built. It's a modular home. And that is actually, doesn't have a title on it, like a mobile home has a title like a car. A stick-built house going on a piece of property, you buy it.
So they say that the title is part of this, that's how they define it?
It's instead of a deed, you get a title, because it's actually licensed with the DMV.
Right, but for the sake of what we're talking about now, it has to be that kind of a home.
It's what I'm proposing. The funds could be used for any type of housing, right? So I want us to go after this program no matter what. There's no matching funds required. So if you don't want this proposal, please tell me something else and I will go after it, because it's very rare that you're going to get housing funds that you do not need a match. And it can go up to the 115% area median income. I focused on mobile village just because of our conversations in the past. But if you'd like to see something else, you should do something else.
Well, I just think from a, benefit to the community type situation, that might be the biggest area that could use, some improvements.
Absolutely.
Does Mobile Village have any interest in, potentially consolidating any of those lots where there's enough space to take in 2 lots and putting something that was bigger on there, or is that not an option?
It's not been something that's been discussed. I think it could be an option. There are some of the lots that are next to each other that are empty. It has been discussed.
So after that, for sure.
Go after it for what? Like right this? You want me to go with this?
I think so.
Okay. Do you want used or do you want new? Do you want down payment? Do you want loan? Those are my questions.
I would really say new would be, and down payment assistance would probably be better, because we already have programs for upgrading existing, so they can use those programs if they want to do improvements.
Yep.
I just have a hard time saying, yeah, let's move more used mobile homes into mobile home village if we can actually assist somebody to put a new one in there.
Yeah, or if it was gonna be used, I would say it need to be,
2010.
2010, 2018, something like that.
Yeah.
You start pulling 1980 single wides in there, it's gonna look the same.
We can get them in there in one piece.
Right.
So I will draft this. It won't be due until April. I think it's like the end of April. So I'll get a program ready, do some of the research on some of the 2010s versus the cost of all of the things, and bring it back to you guys so you guys can see what I'm going to submit. I'm going to be able to make sure we get it to Patrick before we meet this one.
MHP Housing Institute in Southwest Minnesota participation.
So I got an invitation to participate in the Minnesota Housing Partnership, Southwest Housing Institute. They provide technical assistance, workshops, there's a flyer in there, helping you bring more housing to your community, expand your housing knowledge, yada, yada, yada. With our focus on housing, with our need for more people, the cost of housing in our region, I think that this is something I'd like to participate in for Medelia, and we can participate as a team. There's no cost, but we have to apply, and they might select us or they might not. And so that's what I'd like to see, is if you'd like me to go forward with that and focus on that.
I'll make a motion to approve your participation in the program.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Staff report.
The first thing I have there, there's a climate sustainability plan. This is about prioritizing and coordinating a lot of our stuff, working on flooding mitigation, emerald ash borer removal, energy efficient upgrade, rebates, weather irrigation. I was going to bring that forward for our agenda today, but the funding was frozen. It's in federal funding. So I just want to let you know that that's something that I feel is a priority as we go forward. DNR Rec submitted that. The succession planning business workshop will be happening on April 8th from 5 to 6:30 at Mars, and Pioneer Bank is our event sponsor for it. This is a partnership between Lake Crystal and the Delia EDA. And then the Medelia Arts Collaborative, I met with them to discuss some summer rec marketing, as well as a 2026 Paint the Town grant, where we get some funds to do some mural or some signage in the community. So working with them to make sure we have community input in that. And then I went with the chamber to the high school to present to the entrepreneur class. I have, originally we were going to do resources, and then I walked in and we did a business plan for their snack cart they were going to do. So that's what Katie and I did on it last Thursday. And then a lot of my time has been working with the light plant on their awards, giving them some help on that paperwork. Community map was drafted for Safe Routes to School for Red Elementary School. And then finally, I participated in the Public Health Advisory meeting on February 3rd. The reason I participate is because they are the entity that manages the SHIP Funds Statewide Health Improvement Project or Partnership. They voted to approve $4,000 in chip funds to the St. James splash pad at our last meeting, but there was not a new grant round. There will be a new grant round with new funds open in November 2025, and I'll let everybody in the community know, and mark it to the people that but I know we're looking for that when it opens, just to make sure that Madelia gets its fair shot of those funds.
We can just reuse the flyers we used to pass out last time.
For sure.
That was a joke.
I was gonna say, I didn't have that flyer last time.
I still haven't seen one. That was supposed to be passed out last time.
Public comment? To get a motion to adjourn the EDA?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the EDA.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign, motion carried.